I'll get the rest.
The renal artery, blood supply of the kidney.
I'll get the rest of it.
Kidney gets its blood supply from renal artery, which divides into segmental artery, into lower artery, arcuate artery, and then you have the corticoradial artery. Corticoradial artery becomes afferent and what? Glomerulus, and then efferent artery. Then you have peritubular capillary and vasa recta. Peritubular capillary and what? Vasa recta, which drains into the corticoradial vein, into arcuate vein, into lower vein and renal vein, and which drains into inferior vena cava. So that is the renal artery. And this is a nephron. How many types of nephron we have? 2 types. What are those? Cortical nephron and juxtamedullary nephron. What's the difference between cortical nephron and juxtamedullary nephron? Juxta means next, means it has a long loop of Henle which is in the medulla. So the parts of nephron you have renal corpuscle, which is the Bowman capsule and the glomerular capillary. Then you have proximal convoluted tubule, the loop of Henle, descending and ascending loop of Henle or limb of Henle. You have the distal convoluted tubule and collecting duct. What are the types of cells you get in collecting duct? Principal cell and what? Intercalated cells. What are the functions of these principal and intercalated cells? What do they do? Anybody? Acid-base balance. Which one does acid-base balance? Intercalated or principal cell? Huh? Intercalated cell is responsible for acid-base balance, and principal cell is for salt. So most of the absorption over here is as a result of active and passive transport, and all the reabsorption from here is as a result of hormones. What are the hormones affecting in this area? ADH for absorption of water. ADH for absorption of water. Aldosterone for absorption of sodium and excretion of potassium. And then you also have the intercalated cells, which are for excretion of hydrogen. When do you excrete hydrogen and retain bicarbonate? When there is acidosis. And if there is alkalosis, what do you do that? What happens? It retains hydrogen and excretes bicarbonate. And what is this? This is your renal corpuscle. Renal corpuscle, which what happens over here? Filtration happens. These arrows indicates hydrostatic pressure and the colloid osmotic pressure, and also capsular hydrostatic pressure. So 3 pressures or 2 pressures basically causes this filtration. One is hydrostatic pressure, the blood pressure, and the other one is osmotic pressure. What is osmotic pressure? Osmotic pressure is not allowing the water to go in, or takes the water from the corpuscle inside, so that to make your blood running, because water makes your blood what? Running. So less fluctuation between, difference between these two pressures will cause what? Filtration. So we have filtration, number one. Number two is reabsorption, and number three is excretion or secretion. It's the same thing, excretion and secretion. This is intravenous pyrography, X-ray, which highlights the minor calluses, major calluses, renal pelvis, and the ureter, urinary bladder, and part of urethra. When you do intravenous pyrography, to see any kidney, stone. And what is this? This is your, no, this is your filtration membrane. Filtration membrane, which is made up of capillary endothelium, the basement membrane, and urocytes. This is a female urinary bladder, which is, you have the rugae, you have the opening of the urethra, the ureter, and the opening of urethra. This is the diaphragmatic urogenital diaphragm. It's called urogenital diaphragm. And then you have the urethra, the area which is called trigone, and these are the rugae, and these are the ureter. What is this vein called, and what is its function? It's called campaniform plexus of the testicular vein. Its function is to cool the testicular arterial blood. What are the structures passes through the spermatic cord? The structure is testicular vein, testicular artery, and ductus deferens with nerves. And what else? That's it. What is this? Identify. Seminiferous tubule, straight tubule, recticustis, and infant tubule. Then you have the epididymis, the head, the body, and the tail, and glans deferens and ductus deferens with campaniform plexus of the testicular vein. This is hormonal regulation. Hormonal regulation of male reproductive system. The hypothalamus releases gonadotrophic releasing hormone, comes to anterior pituitary gland, which releases follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. The follicle stimulating hormone acts on the spermatogenic cells, causes production of spermatozoa, and the luteinizing hormone acts on the interstitial cells, which produces testosterone. And Sertoli cells also produces androgen binding protein. That androgen binding protein binds with testosterone and activates or increases the production of sperm. When testosterone increases, the level of testosterone increases, sends negative feedback to block the follicle stimulating and hormone release. This is the female reproductive system. As you can see over here, you have the uterosacral ligament, and you have the round ligament, and you also have the sacrouterine pouch, and you have rectouterine pouch enveloped into the ampullary region of the fallopian tube, and you have the ovary, you have the uterus, which is the fundus, the body, and the cervix, and you have anterior and posterior vaginal vermices or vernix, and then you have the vagina. And over here, you see the relationship with the urinary bladder, and vagina with the urinary bladder, vagina and the uterus with rectum. So sometimes during the pregnancy, during during labor, what happens when the cervix is enlarged and prolonged dilatation of the cervix, which is as a result of the head of the fetus which presents on that, and that prolonged labor will cause compression on the posterior wall of the urinary bladder, causes pressure on the posterior wall of the urinary bladder and compressing on the symphysis pubis. So what happens, there will be an opening between the uterus or upper part of vagina and the urinary bladder. So that is called cystocele. That is called cystocele. Cystocele is one of the complications of prolonged labor. So what happens? The urine will dribble through the vagina. And the other one is, again, same compression of the uterus, especially cervix and upper vagina, as a result of prolonged delivery, prolonged labor, will compress on the rectal wall and causes necrosis of the rectum and vagina. So will be producing a connection between the vagina and the rectum, and that is called rectocele. That is called rectocele, and that in that condition, what happens? The feces will come from rectum to vagina. Both of them need plastic surgery, which is called vaginoplasty or vaginoplasty. Vaginoplasty is actually cosmetic surgery, which what they do is they take the this rugae and they tie it together, so in order to tighten the vaginal orifice and the vaginal canal, at the same time repairing this cystocele and rectocele. Here you have the endometrium and the blood supply of the endometrium. So you have the uterine artery, the arcuate artery, and the radial artery. The radial artery divides into straight and a spinal artery. The spinal artery, the straight artery, will supply the basal layer of the endometrium, and the spinal artery will supply the functional layer of endometrium. So constriction of the constriction of the spinal layer as a result of decrease in estrogen and progesterone level lead to death or necrosis of the functional layer of the endometrium and shedding of that, and then relaxation of the artery, exposure of these arteries to the exterior, and bleeding, which is called menstrual period or menstrual blood. And over here you have the secretory glands of the endometrium, and that's it. This is the hormonal regulation of female reproductive system. The hormonal regulation of female reproductive system. Gonadotrophic hormone from the hypothalamus comes to the pituitary gland. The anterior pituitary gland secretes two hormones. Those two hormones are follicle stimulating hormone, which stimulates the follicle, and luteinizing hormone. The follicle stimulating hormone, which stimulates the hormone that the follicle releases estrogen. Estrogen will cause this follicle to become bigger. At the same time, when it becomes bigger, it gives a negative feedback to the hypothalamus, and stops the release of follicle stimulating hormone. Then luteinizing hormone is being released. Luteinizing hormone acts on the follicle, causes ovulation. The follicle becomes corpus luteum, and corpus luteum basically is progesterone, estrogen, and inhibin and relaxin. This is